record. Excellent. Hi there everybody, it's Jo here, and as you can tell I am not alone. So this is the first one that I've ever going to be recording like this, and I am joined with a friend and a colleague called Katherine. Katherine is a careers advisor, and today's video is for those between the ages of 13, 14 that are looking to take their options for GCSE here in the UK. And also I'm going to throw some questions towards the end about those students that will be leaving school or kind of leaving their sixth form or college this summer. So just kind of some couple of tips to get from there. So thank you for joining me, Katherine, because I know that you're super busy. I know that
Thank you for inviting me. It's
you
nice to be here.
welcome. So can you just let us know what a careers advisor is? Because every school should at least have contact with one, am I right?
Yeah, every school should have one. And sometimes there's a bit of a misconception that careers advisors are just going to sort of spout information about jobs, when actually a careers advisor's job is to really help that young person explore their ideas and to get to know themselves better. So things like what they enjoy, what you're interested in, what your strengths are, what your skills and your qualities are, what motivates you, what makes you really get up in the morning and want to sort of get your teeth into things, what's important to you and what you value, how you like to learn. Because actually all of those things, if you know those things about yourself, then you can make really, really good decisions and make the best choice for you. So our job as careers advisors is to help you think about those things.
I love that, so thank you. So I've written down some questions because I'm a little Miss Chatterbox, and I know that us two together we could just chat.
Yeah, all day.
I've literally got them written down. Have you got your cup already? Can I just have a look at your cup? Let's just have a look at your cup. Mine's Sunderland. You've gone with
yeah.
I like
nice it. Big cup. I always have to have a big cup with my tea in.
Okay, so my first question is, when students are having to think about and take their options, why can it be so stressful for some students?
Well, I think partly because there's a lot of choice. So for the first time, a lot of students as year nines have choice, and it's like, oh, how do I make a decision? Because there's lots of things to choose from. And then sometimes there's the fear of getting it wrong. Will I make the wrong choice? And also for some students, maybe there's some pressures, maybe from people at home or friends or teachers. And actually it can, you can sort of lose sight in what's right for you because of what other people may be, saying to you. And actually sometimes, how do you even make the decision? How do I approach it? How do I pick? So there's lots of reasons why people find it tricky.
Yeah, I think that is so true about that variety, and certainly that fear of getting it wrong. So when I go back to being in year 9, so it's year 8, year 9 here in the UK that we sometimes take our options, but is it normal not to necessarily know what you want to do as a career path? So not necessarily a career, but the career path. Is it normal to not know necessarily what you're going to want to do?
Absolutely. And you know what, I think you could ask probably anybody of any age, and if you, for any young people that are watching this, if you ask the adults in your life, I bet a lot of them will say, actually I still don't know what I want to do. And that's fine, because career paths aren't a really straight line that follows a very structured process. They twist and they turn and they're unpredictable. And actually what you have to remember when you're making your choices is that you're only making your choice for you now. Okay. Because you don't know what you're going to be doing in 10, 20, 30 years time. Your interests might change, what you're really enjoy might change. So you're only making your decision for yourself right now. If I think about some of my sort of close family and friends, they've had huge changes in their career. I've got a friend who ran a milkshake shop. She's now a teacher. Someone else used to sell fabric to fashion retailers. She's now a massage therapist. Somebody worked in banking and is now in home maintenance. People change, and that's life. So don't worry about what you will or won't be doing in 20 years time. You're choosing for you right now.
I love that. You just reminded me of all the I've literally, when I was at school, I wanted to be an air stewardess. I wanted to go into travel and tourism. And then I literally, first couple of weeks of college, I think I realised that actually as an air stewardess, you need to be quite tall to be able to reach the cabins. And I'm not tall. I'm 4'11". So yeah, I changed my mind, and it's
Yeah.
scary.
And actually that's fine. That's life. We change our mind. And actually it's a really positive thing to change our mind sometimes, because to stay doing what you've always done just because you've always done it isn't always the right thing to do. You know, to think actually right now I feel differently. I've got a different set of strengths. I've got a different set of skills. I've learned new things, and now I want to take it in a different direction. And that's fine.
I like that. So this is quite a tough one, I think. What would be your top 2 tips? I've gone with 2 because if not, I'll just go forever. So I know that's hard, but what would be your top 2 tips for those students that are looking at taking their options?
Right. When you told me you were going to ask me for 2, I was cursing you, because I could have easily done 10. So my top 2. Right. Number 1, and absolutely this was always going to be number 1, no matter how many others I had, was to really think about what you enjoy. What do you enjoy, and what are you interested in learning more about? You know, you probably all have a certain day of the week, might be a Tuesday, where every Tuesday you think, brilliant, it's Tuesday, I've got so-and-so this afternoon. Think about what makes you feel great. Whatever your Tuesday is, what is it about that Tuesday that makes it great? There must be something in there that a subject that you're loving, or a type of way that you're learning, a particular activity that you really enjoy. So what is that? Try and think about what it is that you really enjoy, because you're much more likely to be motivated then to stick with it and to and actually do well in it. Because generally, if we're really enjoying something, we put more time and effort into it, and you're going to do well in it as well. And you're going to be doing this subject for, you know, certainly in the UK, once you're choosing them in year 9, you're going to be doing it for 2 years. You know, it's a long time if you're not going to enjoy something. So really pick something you enjoy. And then my second top tip, this was really difficult to pick a second one, but because I had so many, but it was to connect with people, to talk to people. So, for example, you might think, I'd love to be a hairdresser. So the next time you're at the hairdresser's, ask your hairdresser what it's like. Ask them what it's like to do that job. Ask them how they got to be there. Perhaps you have no idea what an engineer does, but your neighbour is an engineer. So ask them, what does it entail? What's it even mean to be an engineer? You know, perhaps you're trying to decide between going to college or sixth form in the future. Ask someone, you know, ask somebody that's already there. Talk to somebody who's done it, been there, walked in those shoes already. And you never know where a conversation may lead. You know, one conversation with the right person, it could even be sitting on the bus and you happen to talk to somebody on the bus and they go, oh, I do that job. And they talk to you about it. Just connect, talk to people, because you'll learn from other people and you'll find out about things that you didn't know about.
Okay, I love that. Okay. So if I was to talk about now, change it from the younger ones, let's change it to those students that here in the UK are in year 11, that will be going on to an apprenticeship or to college or to sixth form. And also those students that are leaving college or sixth form. Kind of what would be your top 2 tips to offer to those students that may not necessarily know what they want to do next? Because it's scary, isn't it, Katherine?
It is scary.
Especially in a pandemic.
Yeah, it is scary. And I think particularly for those who are in year 11 or the final year of secondary school, or maybe they've stayed on at the sixth form and they're at the final year of sixth form, because it's been very safe and comfortable. They're at school, it's where they've always been. And, you know, a day to day, it's typically the same. And then all of a sudden you've got this big wide world ahead and things are going to change. So it is nerve-wracking, and it's completely natural to feel like that. And I'd say one important thing is, if you feel like that, that's fine. You're allowed to feel like that. Don't feel like you need to put a brave face on and pretend everything's okay. And actually that kind of leads me to my first top tip actually, is to talk to somebody, particularly if it's a career-based sort of question. Talk to a careers advisor. I can't stress that enough. Every school will have one. Hopefully you should be able to, if you request an appointment. You should be able to get one. It might be a quick 10-minute chat, or it might be a full sort of hours session, but ask. If you don't ask, you won't get it. If for whatever reason it's not possible, and you can't speak to somebody, or they're not available, certainly in the UK we've got the National Career Service helpline, and they're brilliant, and they will put you in touch with any local services. I'm sure there's something similar obviously in other places around the world, but just reach out and talk to people. But particularly, like I say, if it's like a career counsellor or a career coach, because they'll talk through your ideas, help you look at your options. Don't suffer on your own. Talk to somebody about it. It would be my number one.
Okay, I like that. And what we'll do, Katherine, is we'll put some of those details, some of those recommendations that you have in the description box below, so then people can click on them as well. So
yeah, absolutely. And actually, because some of the things that the links which we'll put on the bottom will be links where you can also have the chance to speak to people. So for example, students who might be thinking, well, I'd quite like to go to uni, but I don't really know, none of my family have been, and I don't know what it's like to be at uni. Like on the UCAS website, for example, there's a great function where you can chat to students. So you can find a student who's doing the subject that you're interested in, and you can ask them questions about it. So even if you don't know somebody in your own family or friendship network, you can still ask the right people the questions. So there's ways of asking questions and speaking to people, even if you don't know them directly.
Excellent. Thank you for that. Okay, top tip number 2.
Top tip number 2 is to remember that all learning and all work experience has value. So don't sort of worry if it's not like the perfect thing, or what if it's the wrong course or the wrong job that I do. Every single experience you have, you will be learning new skills, developing your confidence, gaining experiences, and all of those transferable skills, we might call them, you can take with you throughout your life. So no learning is ever wasted. So don't sort of think, oh, if I might choose the wrong course. It will never be wrong, because you will have learned so much about yourself, or learned a new skill, or learned something new about a particular work area. So don't put too much pressure on yourself about getting it perfectly right, because actually you're going to learn and develop no matter what you pick. Does that make sense?
I think that's so true though, isn't it? Just fear. Because my final question for you is, what advice would you give if we've got the central assessed grades this year, and obviously things are changing, certainly with ourselves, that we may have applied for a particular course at uni or sixth form or college, and between now and getting our grades in summer, what would you advise if they've maybe changed their mind, or they've realised, actually, I don't want to do that, I'd like to do this? Yeah.
Well, first of all, do something about it. Don't just sort of sit there thinking, oh, it'll all be fine. If you've got that feeling in your gut that something isn't right, listen to that feeling and talk to whoever it is you've applied to. If it's a college and you're starting to think maybe I've chosen the wrong course, talk to them about it, because there's more than likely you'll be able to change. Students change their mind all the time. They expect that. And obviously with university it's slightly different, because there's the UCAS application process, but even with that, there's anyone that is applying for uni will probably know what I mean by clearing. So you can go through a process called clearing. So you can sort of withdraw your offer, and you can look at transferring. But the UCAS helpline are absolutely brilliant. I was on the phone to them recently for a student. So if you're starting to doubt that you've made the right choice, that's fine. Just have a look at what the alternatives are, sorry, and and just research it, explore what the other ideas are. But it's fine to change, but just speak to the college or speak to the university and see what they advise.
Good. Thank you very much. Okay, and the last thing that I'd like you to just tell us about, this is for maybe parents that are watching this, or professionals, or even if the young people have got money themselves and want to actually spend something and buy something useful. Can you tell us, I've not got my cards on me because they're at work, but can you tell me about what awesome resource, and you've got 2 sets now. Can you just tell us?
I've just realised what you're talking about. I was thinking, where's this going?
Cards. What's your strength cards? Can you tell us?
Mine
are at school.
Yeah, mine. I always have them next to me, so they're on my desk. So yeah, I didn't realise you were going to ask me about that.
Yeah.
So what's your strength cards are designed. Well, there are 2 packs. So these ones are for teenagers, and these ones are for adults. And it is about helping people to recognize and celebrate the strengths that they've got. Sometimes we can't realize it for ourselves. Maybe it's just part of who we are, what our personality is like, or it's just part of our everyday lives, and it's so easy to overlook what our strengths are. So what's your strength cards do is they help you look at what you do. There we go, there's an example, play an instrument. And what does that really mean that you're good at? Well, if you turn it over, it's got this massive, great big list of things. So the fact that you play an instrument might mean that you've got really good perseverance, self-discipline, patience, dedication, growth mindset. So actually being able to play an instrument means you've got all these amazing strengths. So it basically helps you translate what you do into what you're good at. So yeah, that's what they are.
Very much. And Katherine, before I let you go on this busy day, what advice would you give, I don't know, to your 16-year-old self? This is what I'm going to finish on. What advice would you give to your 16-year-old self? Because obviously a majority of the people watching these videos are from 10 all the way up to adults, but what advice would you give your 16-year-old self, please?
What would I give my 16-year-old self? I would say there's something, I suppose this does come with age and wisdom, but to trust myself more, to sort of trust my own instinct. If something feels right and I'm excited by something, then listen to that voice. And if something doesn't feel quite right and I'm a bit uncertain about it, then it probably isn't right. And maybe that does come with a little bit of age and experience, but actually I think if we from as early age as possible listen to our own voice and our own gut instincts, I think we're paving a really positive way for the future.
I love that. That's such a good one. That is such a good one. So thank you for joining me, and everybody else, I look forward to doing a video for you all next week. You take care and stay safe. See you later, everybody. Bye.
Bye.